We've all seen the hype around AI agents, right? These super smart systems that are supposed to act for us in the real world. But there's this huge problem, this reliability issue that's just been holding everything back. Well, today we're going to dig into a solution that might just be the thing that makes them ready for the real world. It's called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short. I mean, you've seen those slick demos, haven't you? Where an AI agent books a flight, crunches numbers in a spreadsheet, and then orders you a pizza, all just like that. It looks like magic. But the second you try to do something even slightly different, something not in the script, the whole thing just falls apart. It feels so fragile. So what is actually going on here? Why are they so brittle?
Okay, here's the best way I've heard to think about this. Picture a super advanced, high-precision robot. It can do anything, right? But to give it commands, you have to stand on the other side of a really noisy factory and just shout at it. And you're just kind of hoping it hears you correctly. That's pretty much where we are with a lot of AI agents. The brain itself, the AI model, it's brilliant. But the way it communicates with its tools, that's the weak link. It's just not reliable. All right, let's zoom in on this fragile connection. Because this one single challenge, you could argue it's the main reason AI agents have felt more like cool science experiments than real dependable tools you'd actually use every day.
So here's the old way of doing things. The big AI model literally just types out a command in plain English, and then some other piece of software has to read that text and basically guess what the AI was trying to say. Think about that. If there's an extra comma or if the wording is just a little bit off, the whole thing can just break down completely. And you just can't build real-world products on that. It's a total non-starter when you need things to work every single time.
Okay, so what if there's a better way? What if, instead of shouting at our robot, we could just plug a cable directly into it and send a perfect digital command? A command it's designed to understand, with zero chance of error. Well, that's exactly the idea behind something called the Model Context Protocol, which comes from the folks over at Anthropic. It's like creating a universal language just for AI and its tools. So what is MCP, really? At its core, it's a formal, structured bridge for communication. And if you look at the keywords here, they tell you everything you need to know. First, it's reliable. That means no more guessing. Second, it's bidirectional, which is cool because it means the tools can talk back to the AI in that same clear language. But the big one, the most important word, is structured. This whole thing is about getting rid of fuzzy, ambiguous text and replacing it with crystal clear, precise instructions.
So you're probably wondering, how does this actually work? How do you replace all that messy guesswork with perfect structure? Well, the way it works is actually pretty brilliant. And this slide just shows the difference so clearly. On the one hand, you have the old way, which is like a crumpled up, scribbled note. You're not totally sure what it says. But on the right, you have the new way, the MCP way. The AI model isn't just typing out some text. Nope. It's creating a perfectly structured, machine-readable request. See that MCP context request? There is zero room for error there. It's the difference between a vague suggestion and a perfectly filled-out digital order form.
The whole process is this really clean, four-step dance. First, the AI figures out it needs something and sends out that perfect structured request. Then, step 2, you have a tool server that's always listening, and it just grabs that request instantly. Step 3, that server does the work. Maybe it searches a database or calls an API. And finally, step 4, it wraps up the answer in another perfect structured response and sends it right back to the AI. It's simple, it's clean, and the best part, it's rock-solid reliable.
Okay, so having this super reliable communication system is the key. But so what? What does this actually let us do that we couldn't do before? Well, this is where it gets really, really cool. Because once you solve this fundamental reliability problem, you unlock a whole universe of new possibilities for AI agents. For starters, developers can now build these powerful, centralized tool servers. Think of it like a universal workshop for the AI. This means you can have really complex, multi-step tasks. Imagine an agent that can search the web, take what it finds, and then immediately use that information to query a database, all in one seamless, perfect flow. The AI becomes way more autonomous because it can confidently pick the right tool for any job. And, this is huge for businesses, companies can safely connect their internal tools and APIs because they know every single command is going to be precise and secure. This is what industrial grade really means. And the people who built MCP, they're not thinking small here. They don't see this as just a tiny little improvement. There's a quote from their announcement that really says it all. MCP is the core paradigm for building next-generation high-performance agents. So they're not just talking about a new trick. They're talking about a whole new foundation for everything that comes next, a fundamental upgrade for how we build these things.
So let's pull back for a second. Why does any of this matter? I mean, it's a communication protocol. It sounds kind of boring and technical, right? But believe me, the impact this could have on the future of AI is absolutely huge.
It's because, at the end of the day, stability is everything. You just can't build a future on a shaky foundation. If we want AI agents to move beyond just being cool demos and become real tools that we rely on, tools that help run our businesses and our lives, then they have to be dependable. They have to be predictable and solid. Stability isn't just a nice-to-have feature. It's the bedrock. It's the solid ground we need to build everything else on top of.
And that leaves us with one last really big question. For so long, the real problem holding AI back wasn't its intelligence. It was its ability to reliably do things in the real world, to connect thought to action. Now, with something like MCP making that connection rock solid, the floodgates are well and truly about to open. The question isn't, can the AI figure out what to do anymore? The question is now, what should we ask it to do? So, with that power at our fingertips, what are we going to build first?